Are you comfortable in your seat? Take a moment to check whether you're comfortable or not. If you want to readjust anything, that's the time to do it now. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And take a deep breath in through your nose. Fully in and hold. And let it go through your mouth. We're going to do 2 more like this. Fully in. And let it go. The last one, like you truly mean it. Fully in. And let it all go. Yes, very good. So, it all starts when I'm at that top of the mountain, the success mountain. I finally reach it. I'm right there. I open my eyes, and there's absolutely nothing to be found. I spent all my years, all my life, trying to reach that very top, the peak, where there will be forever happiness. And I find myself faced with just void, emptiness, and no answers whatsoever. So what happens then is I just fall. It wasn't soft, it was rock bottom and even lower. And I face myself in that moment and I realize, what did I do wrong? I had made a list since I was very young with all the goals that I had to reach in order to be happy. Very simple things. Being a really good student, going into the best university, finding the dream job, not having to worry about any financial situation whatsoever because I had my dream job. Finding the husband, the right house, 2 kids, 2 dogs. Well, you can figure. I checked all the boxes. Absolutely all of them. And the very top was this moment of, that's it, I've got it. There's nothing more, I've got it. Now, I'm going to take the reward. And the reward was a huge slap on my face. Of nothing, absolutely nothing. So what did I do wrong? I thought that was what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to be a really good student, a very good achiever, high performance in my job. And basically I did everything that everybody, all my life, had told me. If you do that, you're going to be happy. So that's the moment where you face yourself and you start to wonder, like, you must have done something wrong. So start questioning, what is it that you did wrong? And I'm very goal-oriented, so I really started digging and digging and digging. And I came to realize that that list that I had made when I was about 15 was extremely powerful. When I was 15, I had already decided how my life should look like for the rest of my life to reach forever happiness. And I never questioned it because I was always supported and approved by the people throughout the journey that were telling me, you're so successful. How do you do it? Wow, I wish I had your life. But then I realized I never made that list for me. I made it for everybody except myself, actually. And that felt really sad to come to that realization that I had basically lived for the approval of others and not for my own. So, when you reach that stage, for me it was starting from the very basis. And I realized how much approval was therefore important for me. So when I was very little, I imagined myself as a little girl, I was always reaching to my parents for approval. Of course they loved me, but I was always reaching for them to tell me that I was a good enough daughter. And there was always something I could have done better, or, yeah, if you do this, you're gonna feel better. So subconsciously, I always had this feeling of like, there's always a version of me in the future that is better than the one I am today. That was my whole underlying pattern for the rest of my life. With my friends, how to manage to be the best friend possible, at work, eventually even my bosses, like, can you approve me? Can you tell me I am good enough? How about you? Can you tell me that I'm worth it? Can you tell me that you are a good person? Can you tell me that I'm worthy of love? That was the most profound inflection point in my life. That burnout was life telling me, you need to do something. And I'm so happy that happened. Because at that moment, I started to investigate all that, which I was already sharing with you. But I went even further. I started doing all kinds of workshops, reading all the self-help books, trying to figure out what is it that I can do in order to gain my energy back and go further than that, fulfill truly my life as I always wanted. And I came across all kinds of things, workshops, books, and my mind, really smart, could really understand everything. Like, be in the now, don't take things personally, be very, very loving to everybody, and just pretty much think positive. But it felt really empty. My mind was like, yeah, if you do this, you're going to be happy. But it was the same pattern of needing to do something all the time in order to feel good. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to feel good, and that's it. And then I came across this method that was all about how to work with stress. And I'm going to explain you this in a moment, because there were 4 pieces of information that I came across in that research that were very profound for me, that really made me understand things in a deeper level. Number 1, stress is today's #1 epidemic. You all know that. And chronic stress can be very invisible. That was my case. I didn't realize. But it clearly was affecting my health to the point of a burnout, right? The number 2 information that I found was nocebo effect. I had never heard of that. Placebo is something that you've heard about. It's the positive impact your thoughts can have on your physiology, mentally, physically, emotionally. But the nocebo effect is the impact your negative thoughts have in your life, in your physiology, in your health. I am not good enough. I'm not worthy. I will never manage to do anything good in my life. Subconsciously repeating that all the time. Can you imagine what it's doing to yourself? And we don't tend to question that. And the other 2 pieces of information were more about the practicality of the power of the thoughts. So there were information such as the majority of the thoughts we think in each day are almost identical as the day before. Almost identical as the day before? How much change is therefore happening, right? And another piece of information was that the majority of what we do in one day are habits, automatic. We're not thinking. It just happens. I need to brush my teeth, I need to go to work, I need to do this. There's no change. So I thought, wow, that's great, because that means there's so much room for improvement. If I'm always on automatic, if I start changing that pattern, what can I do? There's no limit. So I came across this method that was all about how to tackle stress. And I was very interested in that. But there was a tricky part. They were using ice-cold water in order to teach you how to deal with stress. And I thought, no, you're crazy. Why would you do something like that? But when you are truly desperate to find answers, you don't say really no to things like that. So I booked a session with a certified instructor. And at the time, it was winter in Iceland. Just imagine, I reached the day of the session. I'm in Nautilsvík, the ocean here in Iceland. It's about 3 degrees Celsius. And I'm in my bikini, walking on the sand, thinking, what the hell are you doing? And as I was walking, I see the person I was going to meet. And he's right there inside the water already, water all the way to here. And he's smiling. He's smiling. And I went, this is not possible. This person must be taking drugs. There's no other way. But I kept walking, my judgmental mind with me, and I reached the water, and he invites me to go in. No explanation. Go in. So I did like this. Oh my God! Oh my God! Okay. And he just looked at me completely calm. He didn't care about my drama reaction and just invited me to try it again. But he said 2 key things. Number 1, you're going to take a deep breath, and you're going to let go. And you're going to keep doing that. And letting go. And number 2, you're going to believe that you're able to do this. 2 things. Breathing. I went in the water. I believed myself I was able to do it. Sat in the water all the way to the neck, 3 degrees Celsius. Everything stopped. I couldn't feel the cold. There was absolutely no stress. I wasn't thinking, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Is he thinking that I'm performing well? There was nothing at all for a few seconds. At that moment, my body felt something very powerful, and I came out, we started talking, he started explaining more about this method, what cold therapy was all about. But my brain couldn't really grasp. Sometimes the brain takes a little bit of a delay in digesting an experience. But from that day on, I knew I was capable of something I have never thought I could. It was nothing to do about the cold in itself. It was the fact that I went into the middle of a storm, which was ice cold water, a hurricane, and I was completely okay. No stress whatsoever. My brain never had thought this would have been possible until I tried it. And the point was that from that day on, every time I would reach a situation of stress, somebody saying something hurtful, something not going the way I want, stress at work, here at family, whatever, life happening around me, I could always go back to that state because I had already experienced it in my body, in my being. And I knew I was able to find that space of just, everything is okay. Now, that reminded me of an example of hearing when I was studying stress. Don't be the prey, become the predator. I didn't really understand that the first time I heard it, but it makes so much sense. Because think about a lion chasing a gazelle. Me being the gazelle and the lion being life saying, you are not good enough. Keep running until you find a better version of yourself in the future that will be approved. And I was running for my life until I hit rock bottom, burnout, because there was nothing to be found anywhere further. When I touched the water that day, I let go of the role of the gazelle and I became the lion. Think about a lion when he is chasing the gazelle. He's not freaking out. He's quite goal-oriented, but he has all his power. He's in his power, chasing. And whether he hunts the gazelle or not, doesn't really matter. The point is the energy, the difference. Right? So, take a moment to think the following. If our thoughts have so much power, so much so that it affects your health, mentally, physically, and emotionally, what are you doing about it? Are you questioning your belief systems since you were a very little child until today? Why are you where you are in life today? Is it working for you? Are you happy? And close your eyes for a moment. If there is just a remote possibility that by questioning everything you think is true in your life will make a transformational impact in your life, wouldn't you be open to just start with the first question and see where it leads you? You can open your eyes again. The answer is yes. The beginning is the question and experience how you can be in the middle of the hurricane, which is life. Find the eye of the hurricane and be okay no matter what. This is not about happily ever after Disney movies. It's just your life. Are you in control of it, or are you on automatic pilot? And the answer is, everybody can learn to be there. You just need to start questioning your life and see where that leads you. And I wish for you to discover that. Thank you very much.